So, after a year, Ebb Software finally updated. And normally that would be a cause for celebration, you know? That would be a reason to get excited, to, start assembling clips for a new video, go back to their old posts and stuff in order to cross-compare, like, oh, that asset is an update of this one, and oh, wow, this brings context to that, and it probably overall means so on and so forth, but, no one's fucking celebrating today, not the least of me. Now, I've already recorded a video doing a line-by-line breakdown of this post, and I'll probably upload it a little bit later, but there's might be a bit more poignant thing to say. I know these guys watch my videos, they've said as much in an email they sent to me, so hopefully this does get to them. And if not, I've left a response in the comments that you can read that is a sort of breakdown word by word or sentence by sentence of their post. If you don't want to wait for the video, I've left comments here, and I'll probably leave some comments on the Steam forums. But I'd like to give just my overall thoughts about this, cause have you ever heard of a guy called Darkside Phil? Many of you probably have. He's a notorious Let's Player who's known for being very shitty at video games and failing so often that a community of people dedicated to making these fail montages of his Let's Plays has sort of spawned. And some of these montages are 6, 7, 9 hours long. But aside from that, he's also known for being a grifter. He's always crying poor about, oh, I need to pay my taxes, dude. I need to pay my bills. I have so many bills, like if I don't get the money now, I'm gonna be homeless. You know, basically guilting people into sending him fat stacks of dosh so he's able to stay afloat. And the problem is, it is indisputable. His bank records have been leaked, and we know for a fact that he spends so many thousands, more than he does on necessities, on DoorDash deliveries, booze, and of course a WWE themed mobile game. He has whaled hundreds of thousands of dollars in a WWE themed phone game, and he's crying poor to viewers about, like, oh, I need that money for my taxes, dude. This post reminded me of Darkside Phil, and that is not a good fucking thing. You guys talk about how you don't like sugarcoat your PR, how you're super blunt about things, how, here, let's even see your comment down here. And, you know, you have people asking for refunds. There we go. It's double posted for whatever reason. Like, you know, it's somewhat blunt, and as some put it, much more truthful than the PR sugarcoating. But, like, here's the thing. First of all, this isn't truthful. If you want a fat spanking lie that's plain here, you're always saying we focus all of our attention on development. We're just focused all on development. And then you're part of this bullshit. You start this crap with your fellow Kowloon Knights devs buddies, and you've even created new footage, brand new footage for the trailer. Like, this is not from any previous trailer. You can tell by the ammo counter on the right here, if you're unfamiliar with Scorn, and if you're like me who knows every frame of every trailer, this is new. This attack on the creature in that particular spot is new. This area in general doesn't look like anything. I mean, it looks similar to what we've seen before, but it's not exact. It's a point. So you're assembling and making new materials and sending over to those chuckle fucks when people have been asking for an update on progress and development on Kickstarter. And your response is basically to tell them all, like, you know, fuck off, shut up, and just refund the game already. And I really gotta wonder, like, you know, was this post written by someone who had a bad night of drinking and woke up grouchy? Now, you know, if you want some friendly advice from someone who drinks a lot himself, but actually doesn't fucking have a problem with attitude when he's drunk, you should probably try contacting Madmind Studio and asking them for advice. You should probably use some of the money you got from Kowloon Nights or whatever to hire a dedicated PR person to talk with the community. And the reason for that is, like, I know that you don't give a shit about your Kickstarter backers. You just wish we would all shut the fuck up so you can focus on your precious development. When you decide to. But this is like a sense of pride and accomplishment tier response to genuine and justified concerns about the game's development. Like the fact you couldn't even include any pictures or videos here to show what you were working on, just a massive lengthy post telling everyone to shut the fuck up, is probably the worst way you can handle things from a PR standpoint. And indeed, some damage is done, as some people have already asked for refunds. And those are the only messages you've responded to. Surprise, surprise. Guess that might be the one legally or contractually obligated thing you have to do on Kickstarter. But if there's anything that I know from years of just like casually observing the video game industry, this smoldering septic tank fire that is the fucking games industry, it's that gamers at this point have a sort of sadomasochistic love for controversy and shitstorms. They're always looking for the next thing to be mad at. You mentioned Cyberpunk 2077 earlier. That was easily the most hyped game of the decade. And it was the most hyped game of the decade from the golden child of the video game industry. A studio that has produced one of the most critically acclaimed games of the last decade. One that has built up a reputation as a fair and wonderful game developer due to having put out good products before, and then being pro-consumer, showing all the other assholes that yes, you can make bank and treat your customers well. It's not a dichotomy. And they completely nuked their reputation with gamers. They became the butt of the video game industry overnight, along with Bethesda, who also had built up a positive reputation only to nuke it with a single game. And you guys are basically doing the same thing without even releasing a game. You guys are basically like announcing to the world how you feel about your customers without even having put out a single product. Like, let me put it this way. This is the first thing anyone has really heard from you in over a year. It was gameplay trailer that, some people really liked, some people didn't really like. Long stretch of silence. Go fuck yourself, guys. We're working on it. We're working on it. I'm working on it. The quote Chris Chan, which, goddamn, does that bit of my video seem more accurate now? And again, your backers are the lowest rung of the ladder. Everyone could ask for a refund. You could be legally forced to give a refund, and with your Kowloon and Microsoft money, it's probably not going to matter too much to you. But with how much gamers love a good controversy, what's the likelihood that this post ends up being the subject of an Actman video, or Yong Ye, or Griffin Gaming, or any other YouTuber whose channels are leagues and bounds and miles and light years bigger than mine, are going to go through and talk about what massive shits you are to their audience. How soon until Matt McMuscles decides to make a what happened video on Scorn, and it's his first video of a game that's contemporary and still hasn't been released. Or at least I assume it is. I don't know the full lore of that guy. That's already bad, because the first thing many people, those, sweet, we only learned about Scorn 6 months before release audience, the very first thing they're going to hear about your company is what massive pieces of shit you are to your audience, to people who have graciously donated to you, given you their hard-earned cash without asking for any financial reimbursement in return. Nobody who donated to you here expects to make money back. Nobody who donated to you here, but I don't think Microsoft is a charity. Call me crazy, but I think Microsoft is a fucking company, a business, whose ultimate goal is to make money. Do you think someone from Microsoft is going to want to read Project Update 10 and just read about you, talking down and bad-mouthing your arguably core consumer base? Do you think Kowloon Knights is going to appreciate the fact that you've probably gotten people to refund who will not buy the game in turn? I mean, I don't like to jerk myself off here, but I have probably been the most positive PR that you've gotten for the last year, talking about the artistic influences of the game, or here's the update video from last year. Moldman is in, theory shit. I'm not looking to jerk myself off or anything, but outside of my videos, if you look on, Twitter, the only people who talk about the game are Xbox fans who are trying to debunk the notion that Xbox has no games. YouTube is mainly just people re-uploading the trailers you've put out. That's your PR for over a year until now. Now you had a chance to break the silence and try to set things right, and you decide to just nuke your reputation to a bunch of people. I mean, it's pretty telling you didn't link this on your Twitter at all. I wonder why. But seriously, try to get a PR guy. Maybe brainstorm a way to, like, figure out how to address this post here and try to set things straight. And I don't mean lying to yourself about, no, we're totally knee-deep in updating and we just don't have the time. We just don't have the time, dude, to fucking update the community. It's work on the game. By the way, I've tried emailing these shitters and their email address doesn't work. So that makes both them and Kowloon Knight. You really know how to pick 'em, Ebb. You really know how to pick 'em. And I guess that's really all there is to say about this. This looks like a disaster and a half in the making, and I'm not, making any threats here. The only people who watch me are people who are already interested in the game itself. Though, to be honest, considering you're basically insulting them, they might... who knows what they'll think. I leave it up to them. I'm not going to recommend anything to them. They do what they think is right regarding what you wrote here. I'll link the post in the description for you to read yourself. Unless, considering you're people invested in Scorn, you've probably read it already and formed your opinion already. But for those precious, oh man, this is a game and 6 months before release, well, now you get a chance to see Ebb Software in action. So again, I'll probably post a detailed sentence by sentence breakdown later, cause this entire thing is a disaster and a half in of itself, of lies, half-truths, and just general massive amounts of cope. And trying to sugarcoat how things are for the sake of Ebb Software, so they can think they're doing a good job at handling this whole everything outside of developing the game. Keep telling yourselves that, buddies. Keep telling yourselves that.